2023 is in the books, and what a year it's been in Strongman for me. I'm going to go over my best moments, reactions, maybe some backstories that you guys weren't aware of. So the first major show of the year was the Arnold Strongman Classic. To some, this is the most prestigious show to win. Down in Ohio, you're competing in front of Arnold. And one of the events here was the log press. This was a very, very good moment for me. So heading into this and in the show, I would probably have been the fifth best log presser. We had guys like Bobby Thompson, Luke Stoltman. Tom's log pressing's gotten really good. Mateusz has been unreal at this event in the past since 430 kilo log lift for reps. So at the time that I was going, there was multiple guys with multiple reps. Nobody had missed the log yet. Bobby Thompson had hit 3. The best in training I had ever done was 2. And my 2 was not great. It wasn't super clean. It was a little bit difficult. So I step up to the log. I get it all set. And the pressure's on. You got thousands of people in the arena. They're all cheering. I had some friends here watching for the first time because Ohio is not that far from Toronto. It's just a little road trip down. And then for me, I start the lift. And when I start the lift, the important thing is that as soon as the whistle goes, I'm off and running. And you don't know how that time is going to pay off later in the event. I had 90 seconds to get as many reps done as possible. And my goal here was 2. In a perfect world, I was thinking 3. So the clean, never a problem for me. No problem. Got that up on my chest. And always when you feel it on your chest, you know if it's good or not. And thankfully, in that day, it just felt right. So I did my first rep, take a step back, adjust my belts, and really the little adjustments of equipment. I don't know if other guys are like this as well, but when I'm adjusting equipment, it's largely to stop myself from going too quick. It's to force myself to do something to waste a bit of time to be able to recover. If I was just intently focused on doing the log press, there's no chance I would have stopped. So adjusted my belt, I stepped back up to the log, and going for rep number 2, again, it felt good, but when I went to dip and drive, it slightly rolled forward on me. And so I got it nearly to lockout, about 80 to 90% of the way, and then it came back down to my chest. And people who have log pressed before know that if it goes up and comes down, it's usually not going up again. I'm really lucky for whatever reason. If I can get it in the right spot, I can nail it. I got it down to my chest, reset, and nailed that again for 2 reps at 430 pounds, 195 kilos. Now at this point, I was pretty tired. I knew that my power wasn't going to be there for any more than 3. And so I thought, I'm going to lift the log only when I have to, only towards the very end of the time limit. I'm chalking up, again, largely just wasting time, just doing stuff, trying to take your mind off of going straight away. I step up to the log, and you can see me. I'm saying something to someone in front of me, and Magnus is in front of me. And I was telling him, this rep's for you. And he goes, what? I said, this one's for you. And he goes, hurry up and lift. And so I got this third one up onto my chest. And when it was up there, it just wasn't feeling like it was in the right spot. And again, when it's on your chest, you just sort of know. So this is sort of a 50-50. When it got up to my chest, I knew it was in the wrong spot. So I pop my legs, I rotate the log into my neck a little bit more, and I know that that's in the right spot. I nailed this on the second, but in the live stream, which was so funny, Laws, who's my coach, sees me pop, reset, and goes, oh, it's too much. He won't be able to do this. And then at the last second, I got this final rep. And what's made this an extra cool moment is that this little moment afterwards where I punch air and I celebrate, that's now become the primary picture in the posters for the Arnold for this year. So really good. And that would have been my weakest event in the Arnold. That was pivotal to me winning the show. Now, in the Arnold, one of the events, max elephant bar deadlift. I lost more points deadlifting than I did anything else last year. And improving my deadlift lockout was one of the things that was most important to me. The 2 ways I did that were snatch grips and using an extra stiff bar. Making things harder off the ground helps your lockout. Use that in your training if you'd like. But I was just shy of 1,000 pounds. I was basically at this point hedging my bets of where was I going to be, where was Bobby Thompson going to be. And he wasn't pushing for the win. So I didn't need to go flat out. And I chose, I think it was 980, 985.
79, I think.
Yeah, 979. And I didn't know if it was going to go or not. But when I pulled a little bit sticky off the ground, but all in all, it was a pretty smooth lift. I would say a really solid 9.5 ish RP. On the day, I had 1,000 pounds in me, 100%. And I look forward to next year, if they have Elephant Bar in either the Arnold or the Arnold UK, you could put good money on the fact that I'm going to be over 1,000 if I have to win the event. But that was an amazing moment because it's always about how can you improve yourself over time. That was great points in the event, and I knew that that was really important. Yeah, I really didn't know that I had that in me. Now, I won the Arnold's, which was great. Last event was the frame carry. Again, I was that close to breaking the world record, just slipped out of my hands. I will be working, and I am working really hard on my grip. I will break the world record in the frame carry the next time that we have that. But after that, there was a trophy, there was the celebration, and I got to meet Arnold. Meeting Arnold is one of the, one of those moments where I'm not much of a celebrity person, but if there's a blueprint for what you could really accomplish with your life, and if you work really, really hard, you can be successful in multiple different areas. Arnold is that example, and he is admirable in so many different ways. And for me, someone who excels at multiple different things is on a whole nother level of respect than just someone who's very, very good at one individual thing. So I got the trophy from Steve, heaviest trophy I've ever won, the Louis Cyr trophy, pure brass, heavy as. And then Arnold comes over, says hello, which was pretty cool. He was obviously told who I was. He was told about my job. He asked a little bit about that. And the classic Arnold, oh, so good, led from start to finish. That was me speaking. That wasn't Arnold. That wasn't a dub over. So I went into World's Strongest Man, not necessarily as the favorite, but as a potential to win. And you always have self-doubts in your head. Those self-doubts were propagated with the group I was put into with Mateusz, Ivars, Graham Hicks, Matt Regg, who's turned out to be a revelation, Spencer Remick, who won OSG. It was a really, really solid group. And I just came out of the gates really hot. I was able to get 29 out of 30 points. I lost 1 point in the final event, narrowly missing a perfect start. Nonetheless, it was categorically a perfect start because I won and I was off to the finals. And between the heats and the finals, you always go test the equipment that they were going to use for the finals. One of the events was Max Dumbbell. We had the biggest dumbbell any of us had ever seen. It looked absolutely ridiculous, and the general consensus is no way that anyone is doing this. That looks absolutely ridiculous. All the guys were going off, they were testing other things, and I took a look and I thought, no one's probably going to get to the stage where they're pressing this, but I want to be the guy to clean it. I just want to give it a chance. And it was probably stupid, but I thought, how do you clean this thing? It was 3 feet tall on its end. And I thought I'd give it a crack. So we have the video of me getting this 342-pound dumbbell on my shoulder. The best part of this video is that as I'm sort of doing this, you can see Darren Sadler in the background, who he sort of turns around and like, what the fuck's going on, mate? And a whole group of guys are turned, looking at me going, oh, they might be going, one, can he actually do this? And two, does this guy have a disability, an intellectual disability, doing this the day before World's Strongest Man finals? But I zercher the dumbbell up to my knees, I lap it, I sort of have a crooked arm, and I was able to sort of shuffle that up to my shoulder. Definitely not smart, but that dumbbell is absolutely next level, absolutely mental. So that was a funny moment. Definitely up there for funniest moment. Colin Bryce has a laugh with me. I think it's hilarious. Thankfully, I didn't get hurt. That would have changed my life quite a bit if I did. But yeah, definitely in the top moments of 2023. In the finals, event number one is probably my number one moment of the year. And I think maybe the number one strongman moment of the year in professional strongman. We were playing around with the shield carry, and I was almost at the stage where I could get my fingers locked, but not consistently. And so I just went with a sort of a zercher grip, if you will, but a little bit bicep heavy. And I thought, you know what, we're going to do our best here. And you pick your strategy, and once you pick it, you lock in, you stick with that, and you go. So started with that strategy. I was up against Tom, really good at this event, and he sees me struggling. He makes the third lap, and then he goes another 5 meters or so, drops the shield, turns, puts the number one up to me, coincidentally, I think, and the shield is now falling as I finish 2.5 laps. The shield continues to fall and fall, and until it hits the ground, I'm not quitting. And my fingers are digging into the side of the shield. The shield is now between my legs, so I can't really walk forward. I start crab walking to the side. I got Ash and my mom in my ear right off to the side, and I probably overperformed by about 20 meters on this event, and I won the first event in the finals of the World's Strongest Man. And that was an amazing feeling. And I knew that that set me up in really good stead. I also knew that it's probably taken more out of you than you would hope in event number one. And going into day two, we had really bad events for me. Event number one was the dumbbell. My real goal with the dumbbell was to hit the 264 dumbbell. I would have been really happy with that. Long story short, overperformed massively. And another moment that won me World's Strongest Man is hitting the 309-pound dumbbell. Definitely controversy around reffing standards here. In the end, I had that over my head, locked out and stable. And I think that is what the ref was looking for on the day, and that's what I was able to do. My next week's event was going to be bust pull. I came 8th out of 10 last year when I learned how to do bust pull in the parking lot with Colin Bryce. 10 minutes before the event, I had practiced it a lot, but you really don't have that confidence ever until you're actually at that stage where you're in the event, you're under the conditions, and you compare yourself to other guys. So I pulled the bus. Everyone at this stage was on 32 seconds. Literally everyone, bar one person, 32 point something. I knew this is really a make or break moment. You either win the show here or you lose the show here. The initial pull to the bus usually feels pretty slow, but it didn't feel as slow as it should have. And I knew that's partially because it was a lighter pull, but partially because I think I got into a good position off the go. This is one of those few times during a show that you'll see me celebrate in any meaningful way. Sometimes I'll be excited, but in a way where I ran up to my family. I gave Ash and my mom a quick hug because I knew that this is probably means that I'm the world's strongest man. And when that time came in, amazing moment. Darren Sadler just turns the timer to me, thumbs up, you're number one. And amazing moment. Great to see family reacting to that. And right then I knew that I had to run over and celebrate with them. What's so cool is looking back and seeing them just wait for the time and so eager, and they're trying to time it and just so happy. And I think for me, just gives me goosebumps looking at the feelings that I can give to my family and going out there and performing well and bonding over this stuff and being really excited. So you see, I go up, I give my family a hug. That's very, very unusual for me because I think you could never celebrate too early. It's just a recipe for bad things to come. But did that, took my mind completely off it. Going into the Atlas Stones, this is the moments for me that really changed my life. Backstory to this, I still don't know what tacky to use. I still can't figure it out for the life of me. So I always just go to the most experienced person there who's willing to help. And Martins Lisis was there. I was talking to him. I had different types of tacky, and he thought that the elite tacky was performing the best. So I put on elite tacky. I put on a whole bunch of elite tacky, and he was helping me the whole time. Big shout out to Martins. He would have had horses in the race. Him and I at the time, we had spoke a few times, but the nature of Strongman is just, there's a guy who could potentially win World's Strongest Man saying, I need your help. And for us, it's just a no-brainer. Whether you're friends with him, you don't know him that well, or you're not, it's just what we do. And we've become quite close since then. But at the time, that's a really special Strongman moment, and hats off to him for taking the time to really be there and intently help. And it is a different level of accepting to help someone when you know that you're going to get tacky on yourself as well when you would be otherwise clean. He said something that really helped me, and he said, you've got a lot on, which is perfect. If stone 1 and 2 slip a bit, don't panic. It's okay. It's just coming off a little, and you'll be perfect for the final stone, which is what you want. We go over to that final stone, and this is a really, really special moment. From the angle that this is being filmed, that you guys are watching it on, It's Fabian, my videographer, standing right there, and just beside him, maybe a few feet off to his right, would have been Ashley. And I picked up the stone, and the stone is in my lap. And when I place my hands, my right hand grabs the ring of the stone. And when that happened, I thought, I'm going to take a second to get my hand somewhere else so it's not touching the ring, because I didn't want ring to come off and me to drop the stone. And as I did that, there's a moment where you can see that my eyes go from up at the stone platform to sort of off to the right. And I actually saw Ashley, I saw my family in that moment for a split second, which didn't really give me more motivation because I really didn't need any more, but just a pretty special moment, pretty cool moment. I get my hands in a good spot. As I extend the stone, it feels fine. It feels like it's coming up. And then the stone hits the edge of the platform, and it would have been a 2 centimeters from coming off the platform. I push it on, and you can see just the feeling of disbelief on my face. I couldn't believe that I won the world's strongest man. Little small strongman thing. Tom was coming over to congratulate me, saw me and Ash. Then he stepped away for us to have a moment and came and congratulated me later. So hats off for more strongman sportsmanship there. So that was World's Strongest Man. And that is probably the reason that you guys are here and the reason that you found my channel, the reason you're watching. So changed my life. The next biggest moment after winning that is going over to Europe, and for the first time you're announced as the World's Strongest Man. This was at Royal Albert Hall, my favorite venue, and going down, again, family and friends there. Really, really cool just to have your name announced, to be able to look around and get the recognition of being the world's strongest man. I firmly believe it's more important who you are than what you do, but when people are celebrating you for doing something incredible, it certainly does feel really, really good. At that show, I had a yoke, and there was a bit of noise going into the yoke about, I was touted as being the best of all time. There was some guys who were saying, I'm better, I'm going to beat you, whatever. And it was a pretty good moment to go, okay, well, all of the great yoke walkers were there, bar maybe Rob Kearney, and we're all going to go head to head. There was a couple of guys on 12 seconds, low 12 seconds. And to be honest, the yoke wasn't feeling good in warm-ups, and I had just been on a CrossFit tour, so I was far from my strength peak. I pick up the yoke, and it felt okay, but I was able just to take off, and it felt really, really steady pretty much from the get-go, and I was able to finish in a time of 9.84 seconds, meaning that my ability to go 20 meters with 1,000 pounds is close to the ability of Usain Bolt to go 100 meters with 0 pounds, which is cool. I think that could be the Strongman 100-yard dash, 1,000 pounds for 20 meters. Moving on a little bit in the year, we had the last show for Brian Shaw, the Shaw Classic, and this really turned out to be a battle between him and I the whole time. We pulled away early, and it was 1-2 the entire time. That means that we were head-to-head on multiple events, one of which was the stone run, the final stones of Brian Shaw's career, the last event of day one of that contest. And we had really good runs, really smooth, really strong, and I was narrowly behind. I think I might have lost this event to him by 0.2 of a second or so, but really fun to be able to go head-to-head with him. And pretty special to be a part of that moment in history, which brings me to my next one, an end of an era where Brian and I were head-to-head on the fingerless finger into power stairs. I knew what I had to do to win the competition. I knew that I couldn't drop down to third at this stage. I went as fast as I could, and when I made a bit of a fumble, I thought, that's enough. I know I'm not going to beat him. I was able to go up to the top of the platform on the power stairs, cheer Brian on to a really strong finish, and he got that final power stair up to the end. We had a moment up on top of the platform before he made his speech, and being a part of Brian's last event ever is really special. This is a guy who's a staple in the history of strongman, and something where if I make 10% of the impact that he does in the sport of strongman, I'll be really, really pleased with myself. So all in all, great moment there. And to be second fiddle to Brian at his last competition, nothing to be ashamed of. So very, very cool. I had won 2 of the biggest 4 shows of the year. I came second at the third biggest, or the third big show of the year. At the 4th big show of the year, it was time to cement myself as the #1 strongman in the world right now. And I was there destined and on a mission to do that. I was as motivated as ever for this show. Event number two was the Iron Bull, and the Iron Bull is something that none of us had experience with. It's essentially a truck pull, but with no wheels, and it was just dead stop, dead stop, dead stop. We watched guy after guy after guy go, and Mateusz finished, which was great. Every guy after seemed to be going backwards and backwards and backwards, and I was third last to go on this event. And I thought, well, we're going to be in some serious trouble here, because if I didn't get good points here, everyone else was going to be up close or ahead of me, and it was just get ready for pain. I put a shoe down, and the reason I put a shoe down is because the apparatus is so far behind you that you actually don't know where finishing is. So I put a shoe where my body was going to be. When I finished, I started pulling like hell for the first 10 seconds. It was moving okay. And then it just hit a point. And as soon as it hit that point, in my head was a big time, oh shit moment. I didn't exactly know where all the other guys had finished, and I just knew that it was going to be a battle. I knew that that shoe that I had put down is a total moot point. That's not happening. But every inch that I could get matters. I did traditional truck pull for the first little bit, and then it was just the truck pull starts where you drop your hips and drive over and over and over. And every time I did that, I was able to get another 6 inches, another foot, another 2 feet, and ended up coming second in this event. But this would be the number one highest exertion event I have ever done in my strongman career. And I'm very, very proud to have turned out with a positive result here. One little points of interest, my only real injury after the Invitational was that both of my big toes, the base of my big toes, were incredibly painful because of all the extension from this Iron Bull apparatus. The last pull, I fell all the way down to my chest, and I didn't know at the time, but this took me from third to second. And just feeling like you put in absolutely everything, that's definitely a moment to be proud of. The last event, or second last event in this show was log press for reps. It wasn't supposed to be this way. It was supposed to be a couple of other events, but we were basically told 162 kilo for reps, go for it. I looked at historical results, 150 kilos for reps at World's Strongest Man last year. A really good result was 8, and the top guys got 10 or 11. I thought this far into the competition, 12 kilos heavier, 5 would be a good result. 8 is probably looking like you're going to win. Watching the guys go, I was going last in this event, guy after guy after guy. It was just unbelievable. The worst guy was at 5. There was a group of guys at 7 and a group of guys at 8. Tom Stoltman comes up and does 10. And at this stage, I was 3.5 points ahead of him. And I thought, if I don't get at least 9, I've damn near lost the show. So I step up to the log. In the pictures, you can see my eyes have changed because of the adrenaline going through my body. My eyes look like a baby blue, and just so gassed up to get as many reps of this log as possible. And I just knew, you got to go, you got to go, you got to go. I had a plan in mind until Tom went, where I was going to go 3, rest, 3, rest, 3, rest. And I knew that if I wanted to get as many reps in as possible, there wasn't much time to be wasted. I thought as soon as you struggle a bit, that's when you can take an extra half second. I went through the first 4 reps, no problem. That 5th rep got out in front of me a little bit. It was a little bit harder than it should be. I did another rep for 6, felt good. Another rep for 7, felt good. I went for 8, I popped it, and like at the Arnold, it was too far forward, so I lost it back to my chest. Again, oftentimes you don't come back from this. You're 8 reps deep in this show, that it's the 4th event, and you're pretty tired at this stage. Even with the 8th rep on my chest, I knew that this had to be perfect for me to hit it. Thankfully, I did. I had about 15 seconds left until time ran out. Oh, jeez. Thankfully, I knew the rule that if you got this onto your lap, you were able to finish your rep. The 9th rep got into my lap, onto my chest. And in the moment, I was thinking, there's a reasonable chance I actually don't get this rep. It's probably more likely than not that I miss this. And that thought is in my head with the log on my chest. And it's thinking about how important this is. This is probably the entire competition. And thankfully, it popped it in the perfect spot and was able to grind that one out to hit 9 reps and get second in the event, which really secured my Rogue Invitational victory, finishing up with a nice event in the loading race, which you don't see big moments of celebration from me often, but you see me throw my belt down. I have my celebratory beer, as I always do, and I knew that that was capping off an incredible year for me. So those are my best strongman events moments from 2023. Let me know what your favorite moments of mine from 2023 was, and what do you anticipate for 2024? I'm going to come in ready hot. I'm excited. I cannot wait to get back on the competition floor. For those of you watching in December, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Lift Heavy, Be Kind. Program links in the description. LHBK merch links in the description. If you're looking for Christmas presents, really good ideas there for anyone who's a supporter of Strongman. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Lift Heavy, Be Kind, and we'll catch you soon.